Folks, how are you doing? Welcome to the Woods Miller channel. Got a nice mild winter day going on here. So I just got the sawmill down into wood yard number 2 here. I brought it down last week. It's been sitting. I did a rough sort of level on it. So it's basically sitting there and it's staying there for the winter. I'm not gonna bother taking out and milling anywhere. So I've had this thing for a couple of years now, and it was kind of in a temporary spot. I wasn't sure. It was sitting over by our well, and I know I didn't want it there long term, because to use these things in the winter, if you're in cold climate, for your lubrication of your blade, you got to use not water. So basically for winter use, you got to be running like windshield washer fluid is kind of what's recommended, and what I've used, and it works, and it keeps your water system from freezing. So at the same time though, obviously if I'm cutting boards throughout the winter, I don't want that shit leaching into the ground and right over where our well is, right? I don't want poison leaching into the ground at our well. So that's why finally I've just moved it over here. We're across the road. We're far away from our well, so we're good. We don't have to worry about poison leaching into there. We've got it over here. This is pretty much probably going to be kind of the future home of it. It's on a trailer. It's the HM 126 with the trailer option, extended 16 foot. So I've already got it set up here, and I want to get some sort of just lean-to shelter over it, so I don't have to come down in the winter. I've had it tarped for the last 2 years, and it's just another pain in the ass to deal with, right? You want to come down and be able to sort of plug and play, kind of, right? There's so many times where we get huge snowfalls and you get buried in shit, and I'm not fucking unburying the sawmill. Fuck that. It's super heavy, full of ice. The tarp gets iced into the ground. It's just, not trying to make excuses here, but it's just that much more shit you got to do and deal with, and then you end up not even doing anything. So I figure if I can get a cover over this, doesn't have to be nothing special. I'm just gonna grab shit that I've already cut and use this and that, right? Fortunately, the ground it was starting to freeze up, but we got this snow about a week ago, and so it insulated the ground and it's softened it back up. So I'm gonna try to dig, a couple corner posts, and I'm just gonna basically do like a log posts. I'll notch some cross beams in with the chainsaw, and basically just a simple, lean-to style shed to go over top of this. Doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to keep the frickin' mill from having to put a tarp on it all winter long. So that's what we're gonna try picking away at today. So let's get to her. So our sort of building square footage in the township I am, anything under 161.2 square feet, you don't need a permit for. So basically I'm kind of looking to build under that spec. So I'll probably make this about 160 square feet, just kind of like I did with my other structure I'm building up in our yard, which they ended up, not surprisingly, I was expecting, called about 2 weeks ago accusing us of needing a permit and saying, this was the township, saying we need a permit, and yeah, you're only allowed a 10 by 10, 100 foot square feet. I'm like, not the last time I looked. We get a monthly paper from our township every month, and on there it says the square footage we're allowed. So I told this lady, take a look at the paper, the square footage is, she's like, well, I've got one right in front of me. Let me have a look. So she looks and she's like, oh, 161.2. Like, yeah, exactly. So you would figure they're calling you, accusing you, and they would have the facts and know what they're talking about. Not the case. You got the township calling, doesn't even know the square footage, and has the nerve to call me up and accuse me of building over the square footage. She doesn't even know what the square footage is. So she kind of, you could tell she was quite embarrassed, as she should be. You call someone up and accuse them of something, and you don't even know what you're talking about, and then they prove you wrong and with information you weren't even sure about. That's probably pretty embarrassing. So I'm hope she was embarrassed. She should be. So anyway, we're basically going to spec this about the same. Probably about 10 feet wide, 16 long. That gives us 160 square feet. So 10 wide for this should be more than plenty. The sawmill on the trailer, well, say even the power head's about 4 feet. So that'll give me like 3 feet per side. That's lots. So yeah, so like we're 10 out here, and I got like a couple feet over there. We're good. 16, so whatever. I gotta mark out my 10 foots and then 16 and dig some holes. I'm not gonna bury them super deep. I mean, typically you want to go about 4 feet where we are, because it's so flippin' cold and the frost gets down quite a bit. If this thing lifts in a little bit, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's just as long as it keeps the snow off here and the rain, and I don't have to fucking put a tarp on it every time I use it and do all that, that's good enough. So we're going with that. So like I said, I'm not gonna go crazy on the hole, but I want it deep enough so, because I'm gonna use some big logs on here. So I need to be able to get it in the hole here and have it hold up stable, you know, straight while I'm kind of piecing everything else on. So I'll try to get her probably a good, I had to go for about 3 feet. Maybe plenty enough. It's not bad digging here. It's actually like, well, we're all clay here, right? So it's not like I'm having to hammer through rocks and all that. Like, just basically, if anything, just roots and some hard pan clay when you get down lower. But other than that, it's just kind of wet clay sort of shit. So could be worse. We'll probably end up building something somewhere else at some point. So it's really just more for the immediate future, and you know, maybe a few years kind of thing. And this thing will definitely last a few years, so I'm not gonna get overly picky with it. It'll be sufficient. So yeah, we're freaking deep enough here. Like we're borderline 3 feet. Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's see where we're at. Well, we're about, well, once you sink down there, we're close to 3 feet. We're about 210, 211. Good enough. It's plenty deep. That'll hold a big log here. I'm probably gonna do, I don't know, haven't decided what height yet, but at least 10 feet out of the ground. So we're gonna use, I cut this in the summer. Got a nice size balsam fir here. They're nice and straight. Just their bark is super sappy, like unbelievably. Like I wouldn't even. They're bad enough cutting with a chainsaw. You get so gummed up, and your tools just get gummed right up. I didn't even cut them on the sawmill unless the bark is peeled right off, because they'll just gum up the shit out of your sawmill. But I mean, it's not. People don't see it as desirable wood around here, but it is. It's like, it's super like frickin' bone arrow straight. It's freaking arrow straight stuff. It's got a lot of limbs on it, but they're typically like really skinny sort of limbs that don't really like make knots in the tree. So the grain is, for the most part, really straight, not twisted up, easy to cut, easy to work with. Like, it's lighter wood, so it's, again, nice to work with, like, for construction, right? When it's dry, it's lighter. So but people see it as like a weak wood. They lose their tops a lot in windstorms. They got sort of these really dense, heavy tops that'll be just off of a skinny sort of stem underneath, and they tend to, like this one right here, you can see. So that is typical of a balsam fir around here. The tops blow out of them all the time. So, and then they end up dying back from the top down, you know, get diseased, whatever. So, but it is actually pretty good wood to, once the bark is off, like I was saying. So let me show you this freaking bark. It's got so much fucking sap. So you see, it's got all these little nodules all over the place, and they're just loaded with sap. So pick your spot anywhere. Oh, I can hear it squishing. It didn't actually pop. So this one's already actually drying up because I did cut that in the summer. So, but usually when those things are standing, they're literally just caked with these little sap bubbles, like all over it. Like, I don't even climb those. You climb those, put your gear on, like I never get calls for those. It's funny. Like, I rarely do any of these trees. I wouldn't even bid them, really. If I had to climb or whatever, it's not worth it. Your frickin' gear is just gonna get so caked up. It's gonna be miserable if you gotta climb that shit. The sap, the bark on them is that bad. So anyway, you get them down, you get them skinned, and you can get nice straight wood off of that. But we're just going to be using this in log form. So I'm going to cut a section off. I think I'm going with like 14s, as I was saying over here. So I'm going to cut a 14 section out, skin that up, and we're going to put it in the hole. Okay, so we got our first 14-foot log sectioned off here. So I gotta go get the machine, get that pulled out. And then I gotta get it skinned. And then I was thinking of maybe burning the end. Maybe putting some diesel and some oil on it, but I don't know. I kind of just want to get this freaking thing built, and like I was saying earlier, I don't need it to last forever. If it ended up rotting out at the bottom, I can freaking brace it, cut the bottom off, and put new bottoms on. It's not a big deal. So I'll probably just put them into the ground straight up. So anyway, got to get the machine, grab some chains, do all that. So okay, so we got our log. Grabbed the machine, we got our log pulled out. So we just got to we're gonna skin the bark. Not gonna go like too crazy on it and get it totally perfect. Like, I'm just gonna get the majority off. Doesn't need to be perfect. I wear different gloves for this stuff because it's so freaking sticky. I don't want to wreck my good gloves getting them all gummed up. This stuff it's the gummiest, stickiest, sappiest wood I've ever seen or worked with in my life. But it peels pretty nice, so pretty easy to peel. It's nice when you get nice stringer pieces like that. Yeah, look at that. Ha ha. Nice way to end it. Big stringer. So, okay, this log is good. So we still got the rest of this balsam. So we took our first chunk out of the bottom of that. I'll leave that for now. This other side post that I'm gonna use over here, I kind of need it like, I want it like a big one like this. Because I need notch room because we're gonna have a big beam going across. Basically about 16 foot. So I want good solid ones on here. On the other side of the mill, there's probably gonna be 3 posts over there. I can use a little bit smaller. But, so that top is gonna be kind of a mismatch for this. So I've got a decent size balsam poplar laying there. Same thing, I think I cut that one down pretty much about the same time that was cut down. So earlier summer, so whatever. I'll probably get a 14, I'll take a 14 off of that. And then, so that, the spruce and the poplar log is gonna be up here. Those are gonna be the big sort of feature front posts to this. So we'll go get that one out. Once you get under, that's the thing. She skins nice. So I wish I had one of them peeling freaking I don't know what the hell they're called. This is like a long handle with a blade on the end. That'd be perfect for this. Because it's got thicker bark, but if you can get under it, it just kind of comes right off. Like, so it's just a little harder to get under with the draw knife, but once you get under it, yeah, you're pretty good. So yeah, like really, right? Like, I get her peeling off like that. That's nice. Well, this is nice. This is nice poplar here. Like, I was really kind of wanting to do, not kind of, I was, but I got a lot of poplar, so it's not the end of the world, but it's nice. I freaking love poplar. This balsam poplar. It's a very underrated sort of wood around here. And that's fine, I don't care about that. And I've got lots of it. We have lots of it on our property here. And it's nice stuff. Like, it's got freaking nice grains in it. And it's strong wood. It's fucking strong. But it cuts nice, it cuts easy. And it takes a stain nice. It's hardy. It's freaking hardy wood, and it's got nice grain. Like, it's a super nice, versatile wood that's very underrated, I think. And we have a lot of it around here, so I'm glad. I'm very fortunate that we have lots of this around. So like I'm saying, I'm gonna use this one up because it's already been down, and I'm going to use it up. It's a nice big one. It's pretty much matching the diameter of that other spruce we got. So yeah, I had one of them freaking things, I tell you. That would make this one a lot easier. Because it really is. If you can get right under that thick bark, it peels really nice. But it's hard to get under with this thing. Yeah, it's hard. It's beautiful. Beautiful log. Beautiful tree. I mean, well, the thing is, yeah, they're not that spectacular of a tree when you look at them. Like, they actually, a lot of times, typically look like shit. They'll have the tops blown out of them, die back out of the tops, sort of dull, rusty colored leaves in the summer. So they kind of almost look like not that nice of a tree. I mean, their bark kind of is sort of the nicest feature of the tree as a tree. But it's beautiful wood. It's beautiful wood. So I'm a little lopsided with my that over. So I went up to the yard, I grabbed this garden edger. So I'll give that a try. That should help. That should be a bit better. Like, it's gonna get under. Yeah, like way better, right? Way easier, so good. I'll make things a little easier here. But some of the bark is still really stuck. Almost frozen on here still, but some's coming off really easy. Some is kind of like frozen on, but so we'll keep picking away here. Pretty good string here, so yeah, that's pretty decent. It seems to peel really nice down on this end here. It's kind of in the end I'm kind of trying to work from and go along. frozen spot again. For whatever reason, down this way. So I'm anticipating that end's going to be really not an easy go to peel. Well, we just about got her here, folks. Definitely not as quick of a peel as the balsam fir there was, but it's still, this log is still, yeah, it's, but I'm pretty much kind of on the last sort of string back here. Tougher peel here for sure, and just the bark is still quite attached, still hard and that, so usually by now it would kind of soften up a bit more, but you know, no complaints. I mean, this wood is still nice and hard, and not absorbing moisture, and you know, when the bark is still on like this, it's basically still fresh, still green, really, like, so that's good. Yeah, this end here has been this has been the work for sure. Okay, well, that'll do her. That's pretty good. Well, folks, we're going to wrap her up for today. We got those 2 logs there skinned, so I'm happy with that. That's a start. I'm looking at the hole I've already dug and square footage and that. And you never know until you get in to start building something really. Like, you can't think of everything before. So I wish I hadn't already dug that freaking 3-foot hole, because I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna have to change square footage on this thing. So it's probably, if I'm gonna stay under that allowable square footage for not having a permit, which I'm gonna, and I want to, I'm not gonna be able to cover this whole thing anyway, so I may as well just focus. I know I've seen, you know, a couple people have pictures of just partial sheds. I've seen it, I don't know, on Facebook and stuff like that, and like I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. I don't really need the whole thing covered. I just really mainly just want sort of the power head area, you know, maybe a 10 by 10 sort of power head area cover, so I just don't have to put the fucking tarp on every night and go through all that crap, right? If some snow gets on here during the winter, it's not the end of the world. I can just shovel it off and whatever. Really, the main point is just, I'd like to just, you know, at the end of cutting, tension off the blade, and not have to fucking throw the tarp on. That's really will be the main point of building this. I'm sick of throwing a tarp on this and having it tarped, and it's just more to do. So in any event, that whole 3-foot hole that I dug, if I'm going to focus on this power head area, I may as well have it back further, because I can't even run crossers back there to the other side to stabilize. So, which, you know, I'm pretty much going to want. So now that hole is going to have to move back, you know, probably a couple feet. So, you know, just, we'll see. Unless I can angle it off, I can make, anyway, I got to think about it. So that's it for today. And if you checked it out, hope you enjoyed, maybe you learned something. I always hope that too. I know I always learn something watching other people's videos. So anyway, till next time.